Set champs are a massive failure, is what multiple people have said this week.
Oh wow. you almost had me going there. Yeah, so we're talking about set championships again. Can you believe it? Who knew there would be so much
It's
to
a hot
say?
topic.
It is
It's
a
a hot
hot
topic.
topic.
Especially, yeah, especially a lot of people are taking off right now because, I mean, as far as the metagame's concerned, we're just waiting for a rotation, right? So.
Yeah. It is a hot topic, and it's gotten even hotter, some might say, because in particular, the most recent Lorecast, probably the one from 2 weeks ago by the time this goes up, featured JDZ Quest, shout out, but he had mentioned a suggestion. He might not be the originator of the idea, but that was where I first heard of it, and it's really caught, I think, some fire since then, of people suggesting things like, DLC tickets, or a chance to buy DLC tickets be rewarded to people who participate in league or set championships, if you win a set championship, and kind of just I similar to like Pokemon. Actually, I know we usually talk about Magic, but like what I've seen in Pokemon, where you have like challenges and cups, and then those points kind of feed you into worlds and things like that. So that's something that we definitely have to talk about. But there's actually a lot to go over regarding set championships. So where do you kind of want to start with this?
There is so much. Let's start with what, we're giving JDZ the, I don't know if he wants credit for it. Probably not, but we'll give him the credit for it. I've heard it before he said it. But as far as we're concerned, this is all JDZ's fault.
Absolutely.
Right? Some people are just bad for the brand. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Right, no.
But yeah, so I think it would be a god awful idea to connect DLC tickets to set championships.
Sorry,
if you didn't like it when people traveled 2 to 4 hours to play in a set championships at a store that they don't care about and they're never going to come back to, wait till people are getting on a flight to go to set championships, because there happens to be one in the middle of Iowa, Saturday morning, and there's no other near you, know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you could guarantee someone, hey, you don't have to go through the stress that people just went through to get those DLC tickets, a flight's worth it.
Yeah, it would be madness. It would be madness, the things people are willing to do. Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think that Lorcana in particular is always walking this like delicate balance of like, what do they call it? Social play versus competitive play. And I think just recently they actually acknowledged social play on the Lorecast as even like a term before, where I know a lot of social players kind of felt like they didn't really care about that section of the game. So that is to say, like, I do think, it would ruffle some feathers, and it would kind of be reminiscent of those times where set championships, when they had first come out, were really, really cutthroat, so to speak, and like kind of brought out the quote unquote sharks, as we so often use the phrase that other people use. Yeah, I think that would be rough for the community. I actually don't think people would enjoy it as much as they're letting on.
Yeah, I think that people are not really thinking about what set champs are really for, like their purpose, right? I feel like we might have talked about this a little bit in the past, but I think the purpose of set championships is it's an advertisement, right? It's an advertisement for people to go play at a local game store, okay? So the stores, they need to use this opportunity to tell the players that are coming in their store for the first time, hey, this is what we're all about. It's up to that store, if they want to show the players, hey, we're a competitive store. We're giving out 2 cases, 3 cases in prize support. Or if they want to show those players, hey, we don't care about you at all. It's $30 entry. You get the promo and the playmat, and then you can get out.
Yeah,
That's capitalism.
Absolutely. I think that's a good point, right? Kind of like, in this discussion, it's really important to establish what set champs are and what they're for, because I think it kind of fluctuates per set champ season, funnily enough, and I think it honestly depends on, like, I guess, how good the incentives are to play in set championships. Some cards are more sought after than others. I think a good example of this is the Maleficent Dragon. redesign and reprint with the new art, I do think those set championships are going to be back to that very like cutthroat, everybody wants one kind of way to
Yeah.
play, right? Because everybody's going to want that card. It's going to be coveted, right? Compared to I always rag on her, poor Mirabelle, but compared to like a Mirabelle card that I don't think a lot of players were really chomping at the bit to get. And so it's kind of like dependent on the value that you can get out of set championships, whether or not they're going to kind of fill up depending on the season, interestingly enough.
Yeah, this past weekend, basically all anyone was talking about was, man, when Fabled comes out and we get the Maleficent playmat. It's like I heard that, I don't know, 20 times this just past Saturday and Sunday. People bringing up like, oh yeah, once we get past this season, we have an awesome one coming up,
Exactly.
which is good and bad. I mean, if people are excited, that's good, you know. Uh, there and then something that I saw people suggest was a universal pricing structure
Hmm.
where every event has the same exact pricing. And again, I think that this would be a terrible idea to tell stores you have to do it a certain way. I think that if they did tell stores that, then they would have to provide the pricing. I think it's really hard to tell a business like they're already very strict with what these stores can and cannot do conducting their business. It's a little too far to write out their entire business model for them. Like, how would you feel if every store was told this is what you have to do? And if they're not giving it to the store, it's like, oh, you have to provide 2 cases. Well, now you have to pay for 2 cases every
Right.
set champs, so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think requiring certain prizes outside of the ones they already send, because that is the requirement, right? That's the uniform way that everybody
Yeah.
gets to whatever the set champ is going to be. They already have a guaranteed way to do it. Anything else is just a bonus. And I think taking that away from the stores kind of takes away the store's opportunity to really differentiate themselves. You see stores, at least in my Florida bubble, you'll have a store like SSG, Southside Gaming, where like they'll often do like a case, for example, on top of their set championship, from what I've seen. But then you do something like where I go, the different Coliseum of Comics, and they'll give store credit depending on the amount of players. And that store credit one time was like $120 for everybody in top 8. You know what I mean? So, and that's not cash, so it doesn't break any rules. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, so that's something where, and other stores make like personalized playmats or trophies. And it's like, I think it's a really fun way for the stores to be able to put their personal stamp on it. And I think mandating that, I see why people think, like I can see the thought behind it, but I do think it's ultimately a little misguided because we already have, the playmat and the promos. I don't think Ravensburger really needs to tell the store everything to do. They're providing
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. I mean, this past weekend, I went to 2 stores. One of them, much more successful turnout than the other. And it's just because, well, they had, I believe, $35 entry, and it was 2 cases to the top 8. Then the next day it was $35 entry. You got a customizable playmat or a customized playmat, which like I don't particularly care about. We're not even allowed to have this kind of thing. It's like considered gray market materials, stuff like that. And then if you won the tournament, you got 8 booster packs.
Oh
Okay,
wow.
so those stores, I think actually both of those stores would consider themselves having a successful tournament. It was a completely different crowd from one day to the other, which was great. Like the one store is telling you, hey, when you come to one of our events, you expect it to be competitive. We would like competitive players to be here. The other store is saying, hey, when you come to one of our events, everyone gets something. You're not going to leave empty handed. We're just focusing on having fun and enjoying the game. And again, like if you had a universal pricing structure, I understand it sucks when like you go on Twitter and you see that someone won 4 boxes for winning a set championships and you won 4 packs. But like that store is choosing to express the way that they want to be seen by their customers. And if that isn't for you, it sucks if you can't find another store that's close to you. But that's just the way it is, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like they're different for a reason, and that power, like I said, it just gives the power to the stores. So the stores that really do want to, like, care about Lorcana in particular and care about their customers in that way, they're able to kind of like flex that muscle. Where it sucks, obviously, like you said, is where people don't have as many options. Someone like me who has at least 13 different set championships within like an hour or two from me, versus someone like you that probably has to it's like,
I had two.
yeah, is lucky to get three. But I think that's also something like that we wanted to touch on, is like what people are expecting, I guess, to get out of set championships. What did you want to say on that?
Yeah, great. Great word there, expecting. So, you always come up with the topics. All
Sure.
right. Everyone out there knows you are the smart one. By the way, everyone I talked to this weekend brought up to me that they loved your video about
Oh,
your set
thank you,
championships.
everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
like specifically, people were like, "Hey, tell Willoughby's I really liked her video." So
Thank you.
yeah, but I had texted you about this one, and I said we have got to talk about Set Champs EV. And what did you say?
I said, "What's EV?"
Right. And if you're not like a deeply entrenched game, like I forget that I am like in this weird subset culture where I've been deeply entrenched in games my entire life. Also, if you play poker, this is something that you care about greatly. But EV, short for estimated value, right? Or your expected value when you come to a tournament. A good way of saying it is like if there's 8 players and it's a $10 entry, but there's $160 worth of prizes in the pool, like going to top 8, top 4, whatever, then your EV per person is $20. So you're expected, let's say every player is just as good as everyone else, so on and so forth. You're gonna land on first through 16th X amount of times, or first through eighth X amount of times. You're expected to net $20 positive over however many tournaments. Okay.
Hmm.
That's the nerdy way of looking at it. But basically, like if you wanted to play poker and there's a place guaranteeing $1,000 and it's $100 entry, there's only 8 people signed up. You should sign up. Like
Right.
it's good EV. If there's 20 people signed up and they're not increasing the prize pool, you should not sign up. It's terrible EV. That's just like the grittiness of it. And that is a terrible mindset for set championships, I think. I think everyone that keeps bringing up EV regarding set championships, you have DLCs, you have CCS, you have SSG 10Ks, you have Inc. You have Sharps Gaming. I could go on and on for another hour.
You really could, yeah.
Stop trying to put a value on set championships. Like, you can compete for golden Mickeys. Do you really need a champion mat? Like,
Right.
there's other people that it means the world to them. Like, look at your video last week, right? That was fantastic. That's exactly who I'm getting heated. Sorry. That's exactly who
Big's coming out.
Ravensburger wants to attend and win set championships, right?
Yeah.
Not like the absolute grindy grifter people. Google that word. It's not a nice one. The grifters who jump from game to game, who, when they don't get their way, they're going to say, "Oh, I'll just go play this other game that has better EV." Go play it. Never come back. We're all sick of you. So yeah, EV, set championships. Let's not put those words together.
Well, I think you're actually making a great point, and you're getting frustrated because you care, right, about the community in this way. But you're right, because when you brought up EV to me, like I was like, oh, estimated value, okay, like conceptually I know what that means. I had just never applied it to Lorcana, and I'm sure everybody can follow what we're talking about here. I think what, like, for me really strikes a chord on why we should separate, things like EV from set champs, is because why and who, like, set champs are for, and like why they were made. You know what I mean? And it's exactly like you said. I think it makes sense, when set champs first got introduced. First of all, they were new. We had never had something like this before.
Yeah.
And we talk about it.
Didn't know if there'd ever be anything bigger than it.
Right, exactly. We didn't have DLCs, right? So and we talk about it every time, like, you know, the top 4 for the Rockstar Stitches really made that super competitive and all of that stuff. But I think over time, Ravensburger has proven that that's not actually how they want these things to feel. Set Champ should be a mini sort of celebration of the community. If like DLCs are like big celebrations of the community, the way that they described it on the Lorecast, you know, Set Champs, I think, or it's fair to say those are like mini celebrations where the community gets together and we have something to play for. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not supposed to be this, like you said, cutthroat golden Mickey is on the line, you know, which is legally and contractually only worth $10, but maybe for the rest of us is like a down payment on a house kind of a thing, right? Like, so that's not what set championships are for. And when you have these like super competitive players that are just hungry for DLCs, and you know, everybody knows we have less of them, right? There's technically, at least here in the States, less Lorcana to go around. People are looking to things like set championships to be like, well, let's sweeten the pot there. And I think you're absolutely right to say like that's not what it's for, and let's not sweeten that pot, because that's not why we created this, or why Ravensburger created this for us. You know what I mean? Like, it's not for everybody to go in there and like sweat it out and prove that you're like the biggest and the baddest. Go get a shot for Worlds at that. You know what I mean? Go try for an invite to invitationals or whatever it is. And also, for what it's worth, go play in a third party event like something like CCS or SSG or something like that, that's, you know, soon to be announced, that's gonna have invites for you. Like, I think Ravensburger is doing a really great job telling us the kinds of events that they want to have more stakes on the line. And I think it's clear that set championships, like you said, it's not supposed to be this thing where like everybody's having like a miserable time sweating it out at the tables. I really do think it's supposed to be, you know, a community gathering, where, you know, everybody gets something. You show up, you get a promo, you get top 8, you get a promo. And again, we talk about this all the time, but I'm sure the second place mat will come back at some point just based on the community sentiment. So.
That's another thing. When competitive players are like, well, once you remove the second place mat, I didn't want to come. Like, good for you. Shut up. I don't care. I want to specifically talk to Ravensburger. The social players also want the second place mat. A lot of people that I know that only play for fun still felt like second place was twice as achievable as winning. Okay. And they want it back as well. I do think that needs to come back. I think that they understand it needs to come back. If they don't understand that, then I don't know. I'm available for hire. I'll work for free. I'll fix everything. I promise.
For free.
Yeah, and then you know what? Like, while we're here, I'll offer some other suggestions. Sure. Okay, that because I don't like to just complain. I like to be constructive, right? And one of my suggestions would be, you know, this. Have you used the Play Hub yet?
I have, unfortunately.
It went great for me.
Oh,
yeah,
it has not worked for me over here.
Yeah, I heard a lot of complaints, and the one store I went to, even was running a backup on Melee where they're manually pairing each round in case the Play Hub went down. But
well,
it was no issue.
We had to do because our Play Hub went down. We had to manually, yeah.
Yeah, we had no issue on our end. So shout out. I liked it. But have you noticed that you have like an icon next to you?
Yes.
Mine was automatically Ruby Steel, and a couple of my opponents were like, "Is this the deck you're playing?" I'm like, "I didn't pick that. I just made the account." It would be cool if they added special icons. Maybe one that says like I've attended Set Champs, or first place at Set Champs, or I've attended a DLC, or anything. They can do whatever they want, right? So that's one of my suggestions. If you had one that said like top 8 Set Champs, I think that's something that I sure hope people that don't win Golden Mickeys would like really care about. But get like the people that really love Disney Lorcana that go to locals every week, that's something they would care about, right? And that's a free thing that you can do. So yeah, that's one suggestion I have. Just like there has to be ways that are beneficial to all parties that are free. You know, maybe send a box of into the Inklands. You know, they've got pallets of that with their set champs promos, and be like, here, run pack rush as well. Just like, I think that there are a lot of things that Ravensburger could do just to like sweeten the pot a little bit. Since they took away the second place mat.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like you had mentioned, you know, some stores, well, we both had mentioned, some stores had, you know, 2 cases, some stores had not much. Like, if you're complaining that some stores like don't have anything and they're running like a $10 tournament and there's like, you win a couple booster packs, that event just like clearly wasn't for you. And just like, I would be happy that there is something for the players that are not competitive to go out and play together.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't sit at home sulking, posting on Twitter like, I can't believe there's not a super sweaty competitive set championships near me this weekend. I'm quitting. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I think to be fair to all sides, as we often try to do, I do understand where those more competitive players are upset, slighted, jaded, whatever you want to say, by you know, the DLC announcements and how the second season has gone, even, you know, down to the ticket sales. We haven't even talked about that. I don't even know if we'll touch it with a 10-foot pole, but
Yeah, I don't think so, just because so many people made videos about it.
yeah, we all know what happened. But that, you know, so it makes sense where like players are like, dude, I can't even, those competitive players, let's say, are like, I can't even get into a DLC, you know, like, and so they're just desperate for the next best thing, which happens to be set championships. But so I understand, you know, the logic and like why they're like, well, at least I have this to go, you know, stomp people to feel better. But it's like, I just don't think that's what it's for. And you know, like you said, looking at my video and like the people who related to that, it's people that like, there are people that like don't see themselves, you know, or even like don't see themselves winning a DLC, so they don't even go to them. So like set champs are their way to kind of like engage with the game in a more meaningful way. And like I said, there's plenty of third-party events now that even have invites, or are going to have invites as announced, that those players can really focus on and get that better prizing that they want, which is cash, right? Realistically, the players that kind of take the game seriously in that way can go and get cash, because they don't really want the promo. They want the promo to sell the promo, and the promo is not worth the money that they want it to be worth. Go play in a third-party event. You know what I mean? That's just what I think about that.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're someone who's like, you know, looking at the prize pool thinking, is this worth attending? Just don't go to set champs. That's all. Go to people that are, you know, trying to make the game competitive. PPG Denver tickets still available. I'll be there.
Boom. There you have it. Yeah, and to be clear, like there's nothing wrong with like wanting, you know, to make your set championships worth it. Like in my case, I think I paid $25, let's say, for my set championship, and I knew that I was gonna, like I said, get store credit based on the number of players. But it makes sense that, like, you know, so I was willing to spend $25 versus a store championship that might be $10, and like you said, you only get like a pack on entry, or you get, you know, a couple packs, you know, in top 8. It's like that's also like, that makes sense because of the amount of money that was spent. So you only spent 10. So yeah, you only got like $20 worth of packs, right?
And that's the players that they want to come in.
Exactly. They want players that are, you know, they don't want to spend as much money. And so it makes sense, right? Like the stores aren't supposed to be handing out money. Some stores can, right? SSG being like a famous one that can, you know, CCS, they can spend money. But not all like stores can do that. And like, the whole point of an LGS is that oftentimes it is like a mom and pop sort of thing, you know? And so like everybody's doing their best, or at least I like to try to believe that anyways. So I agree though. I don't think set championships are the place to be really doing the like the crypto aftermarket, you know, how much is this gonna go up in 10 years. I think it's a place for the community to gather on a smaller scale, and more regularly than we are able to have DLCs. I know we had a couple different points for this video. Was there anything that we haven't really hit on yet, that we wanted to kind of get into about set championships?
No, I checked off all my things. Only thing I'm going to say, if there's any store owners out there, something I'm going to be doing, I'm getting my first set championships for set 9. Super excited. I'm going to schedule my event in the later portion of however many weeks we have. And I am going to, from day one, advertise a champion mat to first place and second place. Either James and I will win one at another store and we'll just throw it in our prize pool, or I'll just buy it off eBay. Because I'm listening to what my players want. I'm listening to what the Disney Lorcana community wants, and that's a second place playmat. So I'm going to give that to them.
Yeah.
Again, run your event according to the players that you want in your store weekly.
Yeah, absolutely. You cater, like you create the community that you want around you, and so cater to the kinds of players that you want in your stores. Absolutely. And that's also for non-store owners like me, that's also a good note for your locals, and how you treat the people around you, even when you don't know them, can really help establish the community and the local like community that you have, and the players that you're going to play with. So just some stuff for you to think about. So I guess that's it for now on Set Championships. Clearly there's a lot to say. This is just our little opinion, hats in the ring. As always, we would love to know what you are thinking. Do you want winners of Set Championships to be able to buy a DLC ticket? That sounds like, it just sounds wrong. It just like...
You know what? Let me throw some more shade before we go.
Okay.
Before we go.
Let me make you big.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right.
You're big now.
I watched Zan's podcast. Okay, he suggested that if you got to play in all of the DLCs, you're showing that you're very dedicated to the game, and that you should automatically get to buy tickets in the next one. I'm only mentioning that it was Zan because he said it on his podcast. No shade towards Zan. We like Zan here. Terrible idea. I am having this exact problem owning a store right now. I'm like, hey, I want to pre-order 1,000 booster boxes. And they're like, well, it goes on your previous order history. And I go, great, I don't have one. They say, cool, you're getting nothing. So it would just box out such a large part of the community. I don't think it's something that is feasible. And I think that it was just an off the cuff remark that he said, not like something that was a really thought out thing. But I know that he has, a lot of subscribers, a lot of people listen to him and stuff like that. I just wanted to put in that I'm of the opposite. I think that it sucks, but the free for all system is kind of like, especially, it's kind of like what we have to do, especially because season 1 just ended and we're all back on equal footing. I think it's, a lot of people are saying that, you shouldn't be on equal footing if you were just at World, stuff like that. I actually think it's the opposite. I think it's like really refreshing for people to feel like something's obtainable when everyone starts out on the ground floor again.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you said. I think there's a lot to say about DLCs. Honestly, we should probably make a video about that at some point. But speaking of Zan and his amount of subscribers, we want as many subscribers as Zan has. So please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, guys. It would mean so much. I'd probably cry. Thank you guys for your support, especially on the last video. Bick was not there with me, obviously. But I really appreciated it, and I was happy to speak to some of the people who were like me and it was their first TCG, and seeing everybody's support truly meant the world. But yes, thank you guys so much. Leave us a comment. There's a lot to say about Set Championships, a lot to say about DLCs. We want to read all of it because we take that and then we make videos based on what you guys think. So really, you shape this channel more than you know. All right, I think that's it. We've got a banger coming out pretty soon. Just a little sneak peek banger video. So be on the lookout because we really are going to want your support on the next one. But all right, we will see you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.